Where they came from exactly is a mystery still lost in time. Their traditions hold that they came from the West, which many believe to mean the great river valleys of prehistoric India. A race of mystics and explorers, they were known for practicing an ancient healing science founded in the use of powerful natural medicines, medicines derived from sacred plants. It was said that these plants were gifts received directly from the gods. Indeed, it was also said that these people had descended directly from the gods as well. Whatever their origins, some 2,000 years before Columbus discovered a new world far across the Atlantic Ocean, these explorers would set off towards the east, into the currents of the more daunting Pacific, a people in search of destiny.
Tera inui a te ai. Maruru mai tai au te whatai haura mai a matoni e so te ene whenua. No mato e te ene nuna, e no mato e te ene utofari.
And so they came, these ancient explorers, venturing from island to island across the perilous seas over a course of centuries. Stewards of the ancient gifts, they carried forth their treasures, planting and nourishing these wonders of nature, which would bless their lives and the lives of generations to come.
Whenua, te whenua. Te rai, e te rai. Ei te atua e. Mai te mai te e hotu.
In this, their new paradise, these, the very first Polynesians, would root the traditions and sciences of their old world. With an eye to the future, they would once again cultivate and nurture the secrets that have been so carefully preserved and passed down to them through the generations. Here, in this most perfect environment, alongside their sacred plants, these people would flourish.
Tuni, hape ben, hare ati me tuno no e aro tu me te pin. Hai tini, hauti.
Most prized and revered among the sacred plants received from the ancients was a peculiar fruit-bearing tree referred to as noni. Not a simple food staple, as were many of the plants born here by the early settlers, the precious noni was rather the quintessential secret to health and healing. Honored traditions stemming from before recorded time held that noni could relieve suffering and restore a man from weakness and pain. But this gift of the ancients was more than a curative to be used in times of distress. Noni, it was also held, could increase any man's longevity through inciting vitality and by reconciling his body to a state of perfect health. Even the gods were said to rely on Noni's revered qualities. One legend tells of the great Maui, who, when his life was stolen by the goddess of death, was resurrected after leaves from the cherished noni tree were placed on his body in a sacred ceremony. Indeed, the lives and culture of the early Polynesian people were profoundly blessed by the mystical noni. Their destinies were intricately intertwined. Together, they had been swept away to this remote island paradise from which all Polynesia would spring. Here, nurtured by pristine bounty, they had thrived. And yet to the rest of the world, these people and their sacred noni were otherwise forgotten or unknown. But such would not last forever. A new era. The coming of the European explorers looking for new lands to claim as paradise and for secrets and treasures to carry off to the modern world. Amongst them were many of the first modern scientists, famed botanists, geographers, biologists, and even astronomers, sailing too in search of discovery. The findings of these explorers and scientists would bring to light previously unknown truths that would not only challenge science, but reshape the destiny of humanity.
Look at this, look at this. Could I see one of those, please? Have you seen one of these? Nor have I. Is it food? Do you eat it? No. No. Do you make a drink?
You
You can drink it. Oh, good. Good. Oh, it's a medicine?
Medicine?
Interesting. This climate I believe to be, without exaggeration, the best upon the face of the globe, where these happy people depend not upon an annual, but a perennial plant. They have but to climb up and gather their needs from this tree, which, being deeply rooted in the earth, scorning equally the influence of summer heat or winter rains, never fails to produce. Joseph Banks, botanist.
Despite allowing the Europeans a glimpse into the promise of this fruit, destiny was not quite ready to give up the secret of Noni to the rest of the world. A new generation of stewards was yet to come. Nearly 2 centuries later, Ralph M. Heinecke would receive his doctorate in biochemistry from the University of Minnesota. Upon this accomplishment, his first desire was to escape the cold Minnesota winters, and so he took a job with the Dole Pineapple Company in Hawaii. It seemed merely a practical choice at the time, but unforeseen to Dr. Heinecke, fate was steering him down a path that would lead to astonishing discovery.
My assignment was to find applications for the enzyme which I had to develop a method for producing from the pineapple stem. Now, this enzyme, which I got from the pineapple, which I've been calling bromelain, they found that it had many, many other medical applications in addition. It was one of the most amazing discoveries which they had come across. But they asked me to purify the enzyme, and we found that the more we refined it, the less active the product was.
Still, something in this enzyme, this bromelain solution, was giving its crude preparations potent pharmacological properties. In 1972, after many discouraging years of research, Dr. Heinecke would finally identify this mysterious ingredient as a new alkaloid, to which he gave the name zeronine. Years later, he would successfully patent this same substance. Convinced of zeronine's positive health value, Dr. Heinecke set out to find a food source that could be viably used as a food supplement for the benefit of the masses.
Here was this tropical island with many plants which I had never seen before. And among them was a strange green fruit called noni. And the Hawaiian people told me that was a very important medicine. When I had tested it, it actually had more material than did the pineapple. And years later, I had noticed that the critical ingredient in the pineapple was decreasing. I remembered the noni plant. But of course, we had thousands of acres of pineapple, and there were only a tree here and a tree there of noni fruit. So I never considered that as a commercial possibility.
Based on the findings of his research, Dr. Heinecke would publish key articles in several scientific journals. Within only a few years, these articles would spark the interest of a man being led on his own journey of discovery.
Through the initial discoveries of this fruit, I realized the great potential. And it was when I came across a paper by Dr. Ralph Heinecke. He described in this paper the mechanism of how and why it works. Steve and I, we were in the business of finding health food supplements. The next thing I knew, I was in Tahiti to research the possibilities of developing a juice from this fruit. Everywhere I went on the island of Tahiti, the most interesting things happened. The native Tahitians began telling me stories of the nono fruit, how it helped their grandmother or their grandfather, their aunt, their uncle. I met with several medicine people. They told me how this fruit had been handed down from generation to generation. They showed me in their books how it was in most every recipe and remedy that they had written. But there was still a major obstacle. There simply wasn't enough fruit to support a large company. Through a translator, however, I learned that there was a super abundant supply of the nono fruit on the islands of Marquesas, nearly 1,000 miles away. I was very nervous about that trip to Marquesas. The trip was so costly. I had to employ 2 translators so I could communicate. Steve and I, we didn't have a lot of financial resources. We had just failed in another business. There was so much at stake. Upon arriving on the island of Nukuhiva, my worst fears were realized. The word no-no means mosquito, and the word noni in Marquesas means the fruit. So I had made all these preparations and spent all this money to gather mosquitoes. I asked the translator, I just want to go home. The translator says the plane doesn't return for 3 more days. So I decided we'd get a Jeep. We would start driving around the islands to see if we could find some fruit. The next 2 days, my mind was just filled with self-doubt, discouragement, wondering how I'm going to explain this to Steve. We spent all this money for nothing, for mosquitoes. It was at the end of those 2 days. We were driving on the island. It was in the afternoon. We stopped at the edge of the road to rest our legs. In the sky was large, white, billowing clouds. My eyes were drawn to that sight, so I walked across the road, and there was a large ravine below. It was a stunning sight. The valley was just full of this fruit. As I looked at that valley, immediately I knew that we had all the fruit we needed. At that moment, I was blessed to have an impression that this fruit had been preserved from the world. It wasn't a secret, but yet the world didn't know about it. The next thing was to find the right partners. I knew if we could find the right partners, nothing could stop us.
And find those partners he did. Soon after rediscovering the secret of the Noni, John Wadsworth was joined by Stephen Story, Kerry Acey, Kim Acey, and Kelly Olson. The gift of Noni had been handed to a new generation and to a new set of stewards. From across the wide Pacific and into the Rocky Mountains of Utah, what would become of this precious gift? What would these new stewards, a company called Tahitian Noni International, do with this awesome responsibility?
We are heirs. We have become part of this story. And I have to tell you, we can't think of the history of Noni without feeling emotionally tied to every single person and event that has taken place, since, 4,000 or 5,000 years ago when it first became noticed by man.
This is their fruit. This is their culture. This is their life. They're actually giving to the world the very best that they have.
There were things put on this earth by our Creator that help people, and I think that Noni is one of the best of those things.
It's something that you shelter like a child. You're trying to raise it up properly. It's a stewardship.
It's like you've got this huge diamond, and it's like you got to take care of it and protect it and build it.
I'm very blessed to be just one of the 5 guys, and I sometimes feel like I'm the weak link. I feel like they're brilliant and they're good men.
There is virtue in business, and there's a place where men can come together and cancel their pride to do good. That's why I love these men.
They're passionate, they're believing, they're hopeful.
It's not just us, the 5 of us who started the company. Now we have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of partners all over the world who are now part of that and stewards in their own right.
We look at the distributors as the real heroes and heroines in our story, and we look up to many of them.
We knew there was something special here, but we had no idea just how fast it would grow and how many lives it would touch.
Today, we're in 62 countries, and we have offices, we have cafes.
We reached $1 million in sales faster than any other company in our industry. We reached $5 million in sales. I'm talking about monthly sales faster than any other company in our industry. We're among the top 3 or 4 fastest growing companies of any kind in the United States in the last 20 years.
We've caught the attention of the world because of the fabulous growth that we've had. We have only begun.
Creating jobs and doing good with something that blesses their lives. That's Tahitian Noni juice.
Tahitian Noni juice. As the first Polynesians had carefully nourished the Noni saplings so that they would bear fruit in abundance, so this new generation of caretakers would invest the skill and knowledge of dedicated researchers and scientists. The result is Noni in its purest, richest form, Tahitian Noni juice.
Tahitians didn't have scientists or biochemists to tell them that the Noni was good for them. They knew about it intuitively. They heard it from their grandparents and their uncle and the village elders and the medicine people and so on and so forth. And so, we have an added benefit today because of our modern world, the research and so forth has been done. We have the benefit of knowing why it works.
I've been going to Tahiti for 10 years now. When I first went over there, the monetary value of this fruit was 0, absolutely 0. Today, it's the #1 export of French Polynesia.
Our company starts on these tiny little specks of sand and rock and mountain in the South Pacific with all of these people who are harvesting the fruit and packing it, sending it on to Tahiti where it's processed, and it eventually ends up in the refrigerators and cupboards of people all over the world.
In fact, I just returned from there, and they would come up to me after these small meetings that we would have with these harvesters, And after the meeting, they would come up to me and with tear-filled eyes, they would express to me and ask me to take back to the distributors their love and their appreciation.
For thousands of years, Noni offered the islanders of Polynesia a different kind of life, a better life. Now that the new stewards of Noni have brought Tahitian Noni juice to the world, people from every land are experiencing a different kind of life, a better life.
Å jobbe med Tahitian Noni-juice er den beste jobben jeg kunne hatt. Det er en glede, det er ingen jobb. Det er en glede å kunne gi andre bedre helse, og også bedre økonomi, eller aller helst begge deler.
我的感觉是说，我今天可以变成一个好像世界公民的样，让我的视野可以打开更大，也更快乐。
I'm really excited about being on the forefront of a company that have the capabilities of a Coca-Cola as far as starting an industry that was not there, building a worldwide recognized brand, and to be able to be part of history that's going to outlive all of us.
I love the way the founders embrace the distributors and make us feel like we're just one big family.
Das, was mir an der Arbeit sehr, sehr gut gefällt, dass alles, was mit Tahitian Noni zu tun hat, einfach wie Familie ist. Auch wenn ich zu Meetings komme, dann habe ich immer das Gefühl, ich komme zur Familie, ich werde herzlich begrüßt. Und es ist ein ganz wunderbares Gefühl, so zu arbeiten.
I watch what the owners of the company do, and I know how strong family and family values are to them, and I say to myself, this is something that I can hand down to my family.
Tahitian Noni International and Miranda have definitely given me and all of my team a very, very good sense of belonging.
เรียนจบมาแล้วทำงานมีครอบครัวนะครับแต่หลังจากนี้ไปเนี่ยหลังจากได้มาพบกับTahitian Noniนะครับทำให้ชีวิตมีความหมายมากขึ้นได้มีโอกาสที่จะเป็นตัวเองมากขึ้นผมควรที่จะเป็นคนแบบที่ผมเป็นแบบเนี้ยนะครับมาตั้งนานแล้วแต่ว่าภายใต้โอกาสที่มีจำกัดของอาชีพของผมเนี่ยนะครับทำให้ผมโดนกดเอาไว้
Definitivamente nunca soñé ni siquiera en mis sueños más alocados poder llegar a tener lo que tengo. Fue mucho más grandioso y no es porque yo sea bueno, sino porque el producto es extraordinario.Y la corporación es increíble.
私はサラリーマン長かったんですが、確かに仕事はやってたんですけども、本当に人から感謝されたことはなかったです。でもこれをやったおかげで本当に人から感謝されて収入を得ることができました。最高ですね。
Success in Tahitian Noni is just a byproduct of you doing a lot of good for people, often the people that you don't even know.
事業失敗しましてからですね、いろいろストレスとかいろいろ溜まって毎日が元気がなかったですけど、これを飲んで毎日エネルギーが出てですね、そして生活も大きく変わり。
It may sound cliched, but the feeling and the sense of goodness that comes with it sits well with me.
This business is not about me. It's about others. It's about others, and it's about making a difference in their life.
As people around the globe continue to embrace Tahitian Noni juice, the company grows beyond imagination. Consider this. Tahitian Noni juice, along with other products derived from the noni tree, is now distributed in over 60 countries and represented by distributors from more than 72 nations. Tahitian Noni juice has become one of the top brands of health products in the world, dominating the industry with 90% of the noni market. In fact, on average worldwide, it takes less than 2 seconds for the next bottle of Tahitian Noni juice to be sold. Indeed, it is enjoyed by millions. This natural growth of noni, from the earliest of times to the explosive present, has come full circle to the people of the Tahitian Islands, making a new kind of difference in their lives. Always the heirs of Noni's great healing secrets, the natives of this fertile paradise now enjoy the economic fruits brought by the revelation of these same secrets to the rest of the world. Since beginning business operations in French Polynesia, Tahitian Noni International has formed a partnership unlike any other between a business and an entire country, an entire culture. Thanks to Tahitian Noni International, noni fruit and other noni tree products have now become this island nation's #1 export. Because of Tahitian Noni International's influence, young people once enticed away to the modern world beyond the islands, usually forever, are now coming home with university educations to help run viable family businesses. A marriage of New World know-how and ancient tradition, which will help ensure that both the culture and the sacred plants of the Tahitian islands continue to thrive. Over centuries, the carefully nurtured secrets of Noni were gifted from father to son and mother to daughter, but only to the benefit of those who lived in the remote Pacific Islands. Not until destiny was at last truly ready would new stewards be chosen to take Noni to the rest of the world. These stewards are the founders, the employees, and the distributors of Tahitian Noni International. Guided by rich history, inspired by modern scientific knowledge, and compelled by a bold new vision worthy of the world, these heirs are once again spreading Noni's healthful secrets across vast oceans and into distant lands, sowing and nourishing that which is of inestimable value, all for the benefit of future heirs and generations to come. And their story is still being written. What will the next 5 years bring? The next 10?
My thought goes to all of the employees and their families, our distributors and their families, the people who are trying to afford a home, who are trying to decide if they can get married and start a family, and maybe a single mom somewhere needs a new car for her family. I think about the people who become part of our family, who bring their talent and their commitment and their passion and vision and join it with ours. And as a result, they get some benefits that they personally, specifically, are looking for and need. There's more to this company than just a financial statement. It's people's lives, and it's real.
To be sure, a promised day will come, not so long from now, when Tahitian Noni juice has been received by all the world. A day when this singular fruit from this exotic corner of the earth is planted in the hearts and minds of people everywhere. For Tahitian Noni juice, a day of fulfilled destiny.